Prodding Gmail to hit its squeak. The technique to further learn Gmail's secret is obvious. Use it sending mail, receiving mail, and so on. And watch what it does in the background. From these clues and JavaScript listing you already have, you can piece together a complete picture of the Gmail service interface. And it's that interface that you ultimately want to deal with directly. To get a clear idea of what is going on, you need to capture everything that happens when Gmail is loaded, when it sits idle, and when you perform the common actions with it. Preparing to watch the Gmail boot sequence. To start the process with gusto, open up Firefox again and clear all of the caches. Then open up a terminal window and set the TCP flow running. And save its output to a text file, like so. Sudo TCP flow -c parenthesis port 80 or 443 login underscore capture.txt. This records everything that goes over HTTP or HTTPS. Then log into Gmail until you get to a nice calm idle inbox, like the place ID inbox shown in figure 5-8. You'll be referring back to this figure in a page or two. Now stop the TCP flow application with the judicious Ctrl+C and open up the login capture.txt file. Cleaning up the log. Before looking through the log properly, it needs to be cleaned up a bit. There's a lot of information that you don't need. For instance, every request sent by my browser has this code which is superfluous to your needs. Search for this code and replace it with a single new line. Next, toward the end, line 1862 in my working version is a whole collection of requests and responses for image files. You're not interested in these at all, so you can reduce them until they look like so. 192.168.056.050-216.239.210.106.00080 /gmail/help/images/logo.give 216.239.239.00080-192.168.1.016.053.64150 http://1.1 200 OK. This makes things much more readable. Now, between lines 394 and 1712, more or less, it may be slightly different in your log file. It's the serving of the one enormous JavaScript file. To strip the code out and replace it with your own comment. Finally, right at the beginning are a few pages going backward and forward that seem to be made of utter nonsense. These are encrypted, so again, strip them out and replace them with the comment. You should now have around 500 lines of traffic between your browser and Gmail. It's time to step through it and see what is going on. To see the entire boot sequence log, flip to Appendix A and look through listing 8-3. Stepping through the Gmail boot sequence. To be able to write an API, you need to know how the login works. And so we shall start there. In all of the following, my machine has the IP address 192.168.016.053. This is going to break. During the writing of this book, the Gmail login sequence has changed at least 3 times. Not massively so, it must be said, but enough to break code until I worked out just what had changed. This section and the chapters following therefore must be taken as guides to reverse engineering the thing yourself, and not as a definitive reference to the Gmail login sequence. If what I describe here no longer matches the reality completely, I apologize. Take solace in the fact that I have no idea what Google is up to either. Logging in, start by requesting the page http://gmail.google.com, whereupon Gmail replies back with an HTTP 300 to redirect to https://gmail.google.com /?dest is http modulus 3a modulus 2f modulus 2f gmail.google.com modulus 2f gmail, which the browser automatically follows, switching to encrypted traffic. Because the login page is encrypted, the traffic flows over HTTPS and not HTTP. You can't follow what it does using the log. You need to use a script to follow the URLs until you get back to the trace. I use the following snippet of Perl code to pretend to be a browser to see what is going on. Hash exclamation mark slash user slash bin slash Perl dash W. Use LWP colon use the agent semicolon. Use HTTP colon request semicolon. Use crypt colon SS Lee semicolon. You can infer from actually doing it, or by using a script like the one above, that the page continues with another redirect, or perhaps more than one, finally ending up at the https://www.google.com/accounts/service login ? Service is mail, ampersand continue is http ampersand 3a ampersand 2f ampersand 2f gmail.google.com ampersand 2f gmail. As you can see in figure 5-9. The Gmail login screen. Viewing source on this page shows you two important things. First, there is the username and password from itself, form itself, and second, some JavaScript that sets a cookie. Deal with the form first. Listing 5-6 gives a clean up version of the code with the styling removed. Listing 5-6, the Gmail login form. From this we can see that the URL the page posts towards to log in is produced as follows. Split here for clarity. You will need this later on, but now the cookie setting. The first cookie, the relevant sections of the JavaScript listing inside the login page appear in listing 5-7. Listing 5-7 cookie setting code from the Gmail login. This JavaScript has two cookies. The first Gmail_login2 is set with the value of t_start_time/start_time/now, where both start_time and now are the date time exactly done. As you can see from the comments in the code, Google intends to replace this in the future. The second cookie is called Gmail_RTT2 and contains the time it takes to retrieve a 1 pixel image file from the Gmail service. RTT presumably stands for round trip time. You won't look at it in this book, but the rest of the JavaScript code on that page presents a very nice listing of a browser. Check that it removes the login window if the browser isn't capable of using Gmail. If you watch the Gmail login sequence from your own browser, you will see that it goes through more redirects before it settles into HTTP again. And you can see what is going on from the TCP flow trace file. Hitting stop on the browser at just the right time, and that is the code to find words of my editor. A total crapshoot gives you this URL. https://www.google.com/accounts/check cookie ? Continue is http -3a -2f -2f gmail.google.com -2f gmail -3f _sgh -3d8a6d8 ffbb 159 f1c 7c 9246bd 4f4 9e78 a1 ampersand service is mail ampersand c html is login done html. Viewing source on that page gives you listing 5-8. This HTML forces you on to the next page. In this case, the HTML : etc. You have seen this sort of URL before. Look back again at listing 8-3 after the second excised block of encrypted code, so you know that between the form submission and the page you get in listing 5-8, something else happens. You can also guess that something happens to the cookie set on the first page. It is being checked for something, considering that those cookies do not contain anything but the time they were set. I am guessing that this step is to ensure that the connection is current and not the result of caching for some from someone's browser. It's to ensure a good first session with Gmail on the part of the browser application and the user himself, or so I would guess. Either way, the boot sequence continues from here automatically with everything in standard HTTP. You will see within the trace from that the boot sequence loads the inbox next. So that's what the next section considers. Loading the inbox. As you come to the end of the boot sequence, you have nothing to do but load in the inbox and address book. This section deals specifically with the inbox loading. The output from the TCP flow program earlier in this chapter doesn't contain enough mail to be of use in this regard, but if you do the trace again, only this time with a few more messages in the inbox, you can see what's going on. Figure 5-10 shows the new inbox loaded with messages. A summary of the login procedure. As I've said before, the login procedure for Gmail seems to be changing on a regular basis. Check with the libraries examined in Chapter 6 for the latest news on this. Basically, however, the login procedure goes like this, with each step moving on only if the previous was reported successful. 1. Request the Gmail page. 2. Set the 2 cookies. 3. Send the contents of the form. 4. Request the cookie check page. Request the inbox. Figure 5-10. Gmail with some new unread messages. Listing 5-9 shows the new trace. Listing 5-9. The inbox with more messages within.